Welcome back to Light Talk, where the paranormal and the supernatural is a part of our everyday lives. I have a fantastic a guest tonight. Um, I'm excited to have him on. He's going to have some fabulous stories for us to hear. So let's get started. Welcome to the show, and go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you, Dana. My name is Maxim Furek. I'm a paranormal author and researcher. And I guess today what I'd like to do is if we could talk about my book, The Smurl Haunting, When Ed and Lorraine Came to Town. And that is the same theme as Conjuring Last Rites that came out last year. It came out September 5th of 2025. So anyway, my book beat them out and, my book told the authentic story of the West Pittston haunting. Conjuring Last Rites was a fictionalized motion picture. It was fun to watch, but it wasn't the reality of what happened there. So, I'd like to talk about that tonight and answer some questions from your listeners.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. So, first of all, how did you get into the paranormal? And then we'll get into the story because I kind of like to know how you got going into it. So,
Yeah, well, the paranormal is one of my many interests, but I've always been, fascinated by the paranormal, by the unknown. I'm a baby boomer, and we were raised with things like Twilight Zone, Inner Sanctum, One Step Beyond, Thriller. I mean, just wonderful sci-fi and horror, shows that were on TV, and I think we got a full palette of that. And I think that was guys like me, it just stuck more. I mean, I wanted to learn more. And, as a kid, I remember reading sci-fi books that they actually had in our school library, which was, when I look back on it, it's just amazing that they did. But, stories about going to planets where they had, life forms that looked like bugs and all that. So I was just fascinated by that, as well as cavemen and, the abominable snowman and all of that. So, I mean, I think I have a fascination for it like everybody else. And the reason for that I do this is because I just want to know. I mean, I'm basically a skeptic, but I view the paranormal as an academic. I just want to see what's around the corner, and that's who I am. So, at this point, I have written 9 books, and my 10th book, The Scream of the Haunted House, here's the prototype, will be coming out this summer, and this is published by Hanger One. So, and the blurb here it says this. It says, every paranormal investigator needs this on their shelf. The Scream of the Haunted House is the ghost hunter's Bible, and that was written by Kristen Amanda, and she's host of the Paranorm Girl podcast. So that was just a thing that we're waiting for, and we're expecting to have books in hand maybe in 2 or 3 months. So we're really excited about that.
I will be happy to try and get one of those books. I'd like to try and get a book of all
Wonderful.
my authors and have them sign it. So that would be a possibility.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And, there's ways to contact me through my website of www.maximfurek.com. So, yeah. I ask the listeners, to people that do purchase my books, I ask them if they would be so kind as to leave a review on Amazon, because just as podcasts like to get the likes and need to get monetized, we need to get those reviews on Amazon as well. It just shows the world that people are listening, people are tuned in, and it's a really good thing. So, do
There
a
you go.
review.
There you
Yeah.
go. Deal.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Okay.
Handshake.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So,
Yeah.
so
So,
let's go
yeah.
back to your book. So tell us about how did this book come about, and yeah, what can we expect with it?
Well, the Smurl Haunting, when Ed and Lorraine came to town, took place in West Pittston, Pennsylvania, and that's in northeastern Pennsylvania in the anthracite coal region. Um, the West Pittston was about maybe 40 minutes from me. I live in a small town in Luzerne County called Mackinac. And back in the 80s, when all of this craziness was happening, the hauntings, the infestations, I went up there to West Pittston. I took pictures. I talked to the neighbors. I became involved in this. I watched the frenzy, and there was a lot of frenzy there, but I did not I did not approach Jack and Janet Smurl and their daughters only because I respected them and respected their privacy. They were already under attack through demonic infestation, through the paparazzi. Janet Schmerl talked about the hundreds of phone calls from international reporters who wanted exclusive interviews. I mean, hundreds of phone calls. And then, of course, the neighbors. And this was West Pittston became a town without pity. They turned against the Schmerl family. And what they said was that the Schmerls were only doing this for financial consideration, that they were only doing this because they were making big bucks from this. And so this is how that score was settled. But I felt so sorry for the Schmerl family because they were under attack every single way. And the only hope that they had was with their church. They were devout Christians. They were Roman Catholics, and they had a strong connection with the church and the church with them. And I believe it was, that was how they were able to go and weather this horrible paranormal storm, through the faith they had and also the relationship they had with, with their church. So I think that's important to note that. And none of this was brought up in the motion picture, The Conjuring Last Rites. The Conjuring Last Rites got the story totally wrong. It was just fictionalized. And in Conjuring Last Rites, I don't know if you saw that, Dana, but they had Judy Warren as the protagonist. They had Judy there who was being stalked by the demon and the powers of the mirror. And as far as I know, Judy Warren, that's Ed and Lorraine's Warren's daughter, never set foot in the Schmerl house in West Pittston. Now she might have gone there for publicity photos, in 2025, but she wasn't part of the actual investigation back in the 80s when it happened. So, that part of the motion picture was just all wrong. And, it
Yeah.
was an interesting motion picture, but totally contrived, totally, fabricated.
Yeah. And that's Hollywood.
Yeah, that's not right. Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
It's the
So,
Hollywood side. Yeah.
so the fact that I was so close there, I started to keep in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, we had three major newspapers at the time, which was great. I mean, there was today newspapers are having a hard time surviving. But back in the day, northeastern Pennsylvania, Wilkes-Barre had three major newspapers. And I worked for the one, the Sunday Independent. There was a guy there named Robert Curran, and Bob wrote a book called The Haunted, which was co-written by Ed and Lorraine Warren and Jack and Janet Schmerl. In 1988, Ed and Lorraine Warren went on a 15-city book tour promoting The Haunted. And they were in a place called a very touristy town in Pennsylvania called Jim Thorpe. And so I wrote a letter to the owner of the theater asking permission to do interviews and take pictures of Ed and Lorraine. And that was arranged. And so I was able to hang out with them. And these pictures in my book, those are the pictures I took of Ed and Lorraine Warren in 1988. These are my shots. And I
Nice.
stayed friends with them over the years. And I would call Ed up and ask him questions on how he did the demonic battle, how he did battle with these demons. And he would talk about invoking the Spirit of Jesus Christ of Saint Michael the Archangel, of Padre Pio, and he would do battle with these demons with the crucifix and holy water, and he just but he was just such a wonderful person to me. I would call them up, and Lorraine being an animal lover, she had animals. She had a pet rooster named Einstein in her house, and I would call up Ed from time to time, and you could hear the rooster, you could hear Einstein in the background. So they were very
So cute.
good to me. They mentored me. I think they liked my energies. That's what I think. I think maybe Ed saw in me like a younger Ed Warren. I'm not exactly sure, but they treated me with a lot of respect. They walked me through a lot of this, and they taught me much of what I know about demonology and the Smurl Haunting. That was because of Ed and Lorraine. So, um, why
Nice.
did I write the book? I felt that something was being channeled through me to write the book. So I was there. I was part of this. I lived in that area. Two, I knew Ed and Lorraine Warren. I stayed friends with them until they died. And then the third thing, and if I could find this, I'll show you the picture. I went to Gettysburg to see Annabelle, the cursed doll. And when I was there, I met Dan Rivera. Now, there's a picture of me, Annabelle. Can you see that?
Yes,
Annabelle and Dan
with
Rivera.
Annabelle.
And that was on Friday, July the 11th. And I met Dan and
Oh,
paid my money and everything. Dan agreed to do, we had a wonderful conversation and interview when I was there. He agreed to do a phone interview with me on Monday, July the 14th. That was 2025. And I got a phone call from a friend of mine. And they said, "Did you hear about the paranormal investigator in Gettysburg?" I said, "No, what happened?" He said, "Well, the person died." And I didn't think for a
wow.
second that it was Dan Rivera. I thought it was somebody else. And here it was Dan Rivera. Dan Rivera
Oh,
passed away the day before I was supposed to interview him.
oh
And
no.
yeah, I mean, that was pretty crazy. Now,
Yeah.
the coroner said that he died of natural causes, that he had a cardiac condition. And but people in the paranormal community, like the psychic Vincent sisters, believe that it was the demonic uh, powers, the dark forces of Annabelle the doll that wore down Dan Rivera and caused his death. They're blaming his Annabelle for his death. Now, keep in mind that Lorraine Warren wanted Annabelle and all those artifacts to stay at the Warren Occult Museum in Monroe, Connecticut. That was her wish, that was her desire. And her son-in-law, Tony Spira, and his New England Society for Psychic Research decided to take Annabelle and those artifacts on the road. And they did this in 2025. They called it the Devils on the Run Tour. And they took Annabelle all over the place before Gettysburg, including San Antonio, Texas, including New Orleans, where three things happened. And you could say that one or two of these are coincidence, but three things more like John Keel's Elements of High Strangeness. But in New Orleans, the largest sugar cane plantation burned down. That was in Louisiana, while Annabelle was there in New Orleans. 12 inmates escaped from the jail downtown in New Orleans, and also the home that belonged to the Voodoo Queen, Marie Laveau, also burned. Uh, so um,
Wow.
some people claim that this was because of Annabelle, and other people said no, it was just a coincidence. But it was San Antonio, it was the West Virginia Penitentiary, New Orleans, and then finally Annabelle made it to Gettysburg, and that's when I saw Annabelle and Dan Rivera. That was Friday, July the 11th, 2025. So um, I felt that this book was, I became a part of this book. I felt that I was immersed in it, and I felt that I maybe had a duty or responsibility or a mission. I mean, call it what you will, to write the book. But the book just flowed. I love the book. I stand by the book. I think it's a wonderfully well researched and written book. book. And I thank the people who have read it and who have left posted reviews saying that they learned a lot more about demonology after reading the book. So, that makes me feel good to know that I can contribute to I suppose the overall knowledge, within the paranormal community, which is important to me. So, so the book has been doing well. It's published by Anxiety Press, and it could be purchased on Amazon or through my website. So people have choices.
Yeah, that's really cool. So what is the biggest thing that you probably learned off of um talking with all of these people and writing the book, and what made you go, wow, I never thought of that, or what, this is something new I didn't know about. What did you learn off of
Yeah,
all
yeah.
of this?
Well, what I did was this. I mean, the Smurl Haunting, which a lot of people have not heard about, excuse me,
Hmm?
was your typical haunted house. And by say typical, most of these places that we talk about, and in the book I talk about Amityville, the Amityville Horror. I
Mhm.
talk about the Wells House in northeastern Pennsylvania. I talk about the house in New York State where the I'm trying to I'm blocking. I'm trying to think of the name of it, but um, you could help me out here. I'm
Yeah,
gonna look
I'm
at the
thinking,
table. Yeah, this I hate when this happens, and
oh no, you're fine.
It's been happening a lot. Okay, so it was no, I can't find it. Okay, but anyway, there was another haunted house. So the Hinsdale house, Hinsdale,
Yeah,
Western New York. I compared the Schmerl house with all these other haunted houses, and all of these had your typical the smells, the sounds, the profanities etched in mirrors, steam mirrors, the voices saying "Get out." Um, the thing that made the Schmerl haunting more dramatic, made it different, was the extent of violence that happened at the Schmerl haunting. And what happened was Jack Schmerl claimed that he had been raped by a female demon, a succubus, and Janet Schmerl claimed that she had been attacked by some demon while she was sleeping. This didn't happen in Amityville and the other places. I mean, there was infestations, there were the smells and the sounds and everything else, the horrible racket. Amityville was noted for the flies by the window. It was
yeah,
noted for, yeah, and all of these homes will have rooms where the temperature will go down to say 30 degrees, rooms that are connected to furnaces and heat systems, but they all of a sudden, for some weird, crazy paranormal reason, get very cold. So the Schmerl haunting certainly was fits in with all that. Um, it started slowly with the Schmerls, the sounds, things breaking, a brand new television that exploded, a chandelier that fell down and almost killed one of the daughters, the German Shepherd Simon that was lifted up and levitated and flung across the room. And that was when Dawn Schmerl, she was 19, I believe, at the time, she witnessed this. And we don't know exactly what that is. I mean, that's a pretty interesting facet of the Schmerl haunting. Dawn Schmerl might have been manifesting psychokinetic energies. She might have had some sort of psi power that Stephen King has written about extensively. Whether it's The Shining, Carrie, Firestarter, young adolescents, mainly females, that have a power, an ability. And with Dawn Schmerl, some people believe that she had the psi power that actually she wasn't able to control it, but she lifted up the family dog Simon and threw it across the room, not intentionally, but maybe not being able to utilize or, control her psychokinetic energy. So that's one of the theories, and I stand by it. I think it's an interesting theory, but that only explains one aspect. we can't blame Dawn Schmurl for everything that happened, but she may have been involved in the levitation of the dog. But everything else was as you would expect in a house. And then the people started to show up. I mean, it was a mob scene. It was a mob scene. They had to get the sheriff and they had to shut down the streets. They had to
Yeah.
chase people away. It was, and I was there for that frenzy. I mean, it was crazy. And it was so unfair, to the Schmurl family. And
Mhm.
it reminds me a lot of the Dandy family from the Hinsdale house in New York, who they had the same thing. Their house was infested, and the local people were blaming them for being devil worshippers. The local people were saying that the dandy people, were worshiping the devil and all this. This is what they brought onto themselves. So, but the town turned their backs on the Dandy family, just like the West Pittston turned their backs on Jack and Janet Schmurl. It happens a lot. And I talked to some Catholic priests specifically about this, and they said that, whenever there's somebody who's different, and you find this with little kids, unfortunately. The little kids a lot of times aren't angels, they're little monsters. And if there's somebody who's different, a lot of times they'll tease and pick on them, and it's unfortunate. It's one of the flaws that we have as human beings. I mean, our lack of acceptance for those who are maybe less than us, who may be crippled or
Mhm.
malformed or whatever, and we tend to do this, and it's unfortunate. But again, it happened to the Schmurl family, it happened to the Dandy family. It happens to a lot of families that are being haunted and stalked and infested, and it's too bad because this is their time of need. This is when they really need our help and support. So,
Mhm.
but
Right.
some interesting commonalities between those haunted houses.
So, what are your thoughts with demons? What is like your definition of a demon? How do you see demon? Is it like really like the devil, or is it just like a negative entity? How do you view, what's your viewpoint of it?
Yeah, I mean, the devil or negative entity, that makes sense. That fits. But I think that, most religions and mythologies believe in an afterlife. And if you do believe in it, and they all do, even though some of them may say they don't. Some of them may dance around this, but we all try to conjure, to signal, to communicate with the dead. We do it through rituals and festivals and everything else. So we all do it,
Mhm.
even though we say some people say they don't do it. Um, we believe that there's an afterlife. We believe that there's a way to contact spirits and ghosts and demons, and they have a way to contact us. So most people, the with the ghosts typically are earthbound. They're confused. For some reason, something is keeping them here on Earth attached to us. They're earthbound and they haven't been able to go and raise their frequency, their vibration to go to another realm, a higher realm. Spirits have that ability, but they could go into another realm and then come back and visit us, we believe. And then demons are the bad ones. Demons are the ones that may be able to go and control spirits and ghosts. And in haunted houses, like for example with the Schmurl haunting, uh, uh, Lorraine believed that there were something like seven spirits. She believed that there was a succubus, a female succubus, that was the demon that controlled these other ghosts and spirits and made them, manipulated them to go and do all the dirty work, like the knocks and the screams and everything else that you would find in a haunted house. So that's what we believe. Um, a lot of people feel that uh, it's not dangerous to go into these haunted houses, but most people that I know will go cloaked in white light or holy water or the crucifix or the prayer of Saint Joseph the archangel or whatever it takes to stay grounded and to stay safe. When they leave these haunted houses, they typically say something like, to the any ghosts or spirits that are there, "Thank you for allowing me into your home. I'm leaving now, and you are not to follow me. You're to stay here." So you give
Right.
those
Yeah.
instructions. Um, most people that I've talked to say that it's rare for demonic infestations. It's rare for that to happen, but yet it can happen and it does happen. And I think a lot of people, a lot of young people that are ghost hunters, I don't think at times they take this seriously, and they think it's just a lark. Like for example, a great example are people that dabble with Ouija boards. Ouija boards could open up conduits. They could open up portals to the unknown, and it could be something that's dark and something that we can't control. Um, People that use Ouija boards just as a parlor game, aren't taking this thing seriously. So I believe that Ouija boards can tap into some dark energies. I know Wiccans and I know pagans that use Ouija boards as a means of contacting specific spirits, asking for guidance, asking for help. But these are people that are schooled in, the Ouija board etiquette or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
But most people I talk to, are very apprehensive and afraid of Ouija boards because of what could happen. But a lot of that is because we're just naive. We don't recognize what it is or how powerful it is. And again, I would encourage your listeners to think twice before they start dabbling in things like seances, Ouija boards, tarot cards, fortune tellers, all of that. Just be careful. Just be careful because you're going into some places that are definitely of the unknown, and we know that some negative things could happen to certain people. So again, it depends on your situation. It depends on your vibration, on your sensitivity, on your vulnerability. We know that ghosts and spirits and demons will come after people that are addicted, that are mentally ill, that are young, people that don't have a good sense of a concept of self-confidence and self-worth. If you're vulnerable, you really shouldn't be walking around haunted houses, and you shouldn't be dabbling with Ouija boards. So,
Yeah.
but again, it's your life, and we're all big boys and girls, so we make our own choices. But I tell everybody this, and just not being superstitious or just hyper. Or hypersensitive. I just believe that bad things could happen, and they do. So just be careful.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree that you really got to protect yourself when you're working in this business because you just don't know what's out there. And I know I'm looking to do some paranormal investigations and Bigfoot research and things like that. But I'm
Yeah,
not going to go out there and do it myself. I'm going to have somebody with me. Plus, I want somebody that has done it multiple times so
right,
that
right.
I could follow them and get some good information and good protection going into it and good protection leaving and knowing how
Right.
to treat these spirits in the healthy way. I don't want to go in there and demanding anything. I want to go in there and respect them as this is their house, or
Yeah.
I want to be respectful about it. So I want to learn the proper good ways when I'm doing this. So if anybody out there knows of any paranormal investigation teams in Loveland, Fort Collins area, Colorado, and yeah, let me know because I'm really interested in wanting to get out there and really checking into it. But like you're saying, you gotta know what you're doing before you just do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I do have a contact out there. I'm trying to think of what his name is, and hang on one second. And from hmm, oh, yeah, from Colorado. Do you know Keegan Cool? Keegan
Mm,
Cool?
cool. Mm-mm.
Cool? Oh, yeah, I'll hook you up with him. Okay, remind me. after the
Yeah.
show to give you his contact information. He's a
Okay.
Colorado podcaster. You guys could interview each other. That'd be fun. Yeah.
Oh, that
You
would
could
be
go to
cool
a
then.
haunted house together. Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay.
Oh, that would be
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. Thank you.
yeah, but absolutely. Remind me. But people shouldn't be naive. They should be responsible, and they should think about protection, whether it's sage, holy water, a crucifix, whatever, a stone, a gemstone. Some people, I know Lorraine Warren always liked to envision the white light. She would bathe herself in the protective white light, and a lot of people
Hmm.
do that. But there's ways of getting ready for the unknown and just preparing yourself. And I just talked to a friend today. She's with the Oculus Alchemy. It's the documentary series in New York City, and she was at Vermont at a haunted house, and they came back feeling very tense and apprehensive and at uh, at unease. Something happened there. Again, she couldn't quite explain it, but everybody was experiencing some of that. And with some people, it's headaches or feelings of electricity. Just really weird paranormal things, but things that typically don't happen to us, but they happen after visiting one of these places that we believe is infested, with some sort of dark energies. So anyway, again, just be careful, and but it's another form of dark tourism. Dark tourism encompasses, it's a $1 billion industry, in uh, Estes Park, Colorado, with Stephen King, when Stephen King went there and wrote The Shining. I mean, that's a big thing. I have a friend that won a lottery, and he was able to go and stay at that room where
412?
the murder took place.
Is it
Pardon?
412? Room 412 or 312 or
I
something
think,
like that?
yeah, I believe so, yeah. But
Yeah.
they had to pay thousands of dollars just to go in. It was a lottery, and this guy is quite wealthy. He's a celebrity, so it was okay with him. But he had to pay for 5 days, and he was only staying for 2 nights. So rather than just paying the whatever it was, like he had to
Right.
pay for 5 nights. That was thousands. I think it was like might have been $10,000 each for him and his wife. But anyway, dark tourism. Certainly, when Stephen King wrote The Shining and Open Up Doors, people started to come to the Estes Park um, hotel. He called it the Overlook, but they started to come to the Stanley Hotel, and now it's a dark tourism destination. They have festivals there. They have their topiary garden. I mean, they made it
Hmm.
like like the movie. So, it's big business, not just in Estes Park, but all over the place. So,
All over.
there's a lot of money being made in with dark tourism. And in the back of my book, The Scream of the Haunted House, I'd like to read something if I could. I had two
Absolutely.
paragraphs. Okay, so paranormal author Maxim W. Furek's groundbreaking book exposes the haunted house as a prison of despair, where earthbound spirits cry for tranquility and tears are shed not from the eyes, but from the soul. Despite belief that demonic infestation is rare, the author probes the most terrifying of possibilities. Are ghost hunters disturbing things that should be left alone? Are they conceivable targets of demonic wrath? And here's the kicker, has dark tourism knowingly opened the profane cash registers of hell? And so that's on the back of the Scream of the Haunted House. But we talk about all that, and I take a look at infamous haunted houses like the Conjuring House, Amityville, the Sally House, the Lizzie Borden House, the Stanley Hotel, Penhurst Asylum, the Smurl House, and the Madison Reformatory, and countless others. But it's just a deep dive into these places, these haunted locations. It's going to
Yeah.
be a great book. I can't wait till it comes out, and hopefully maybe I could be on your show again and we could talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. Yeah, I just made it up to the Stanley last month, about a month ago.
Yeah.
They had the paranormal days there
Okay.
at the Stanley, and I went for a bit of that, and that was fun. That's the first time I've ever been in the
Oh
Stanley. I
yeah,
kind
yeah,
of
it's
kind of drove by it one time, and
yeah.
that's it, you know.
Oh,
So,
it's so awesome with the Rockies and everything. Yeah, and it's at the Rocky Mountain National Park. Yeah, it's
mhm.
great. It's beautiful. Yeah,
Yeah, it
and that
is.
was yeah. And when I went there the first time, I interviewed Robert Hellis. He was the concierge,
Hmm.
and um, and he claimed that the house was haunted by Cora Stanley. That was F.O. Stanley's wife, who was blind. And Cora would be walking down the steps with her cane, and you could hear that tap, 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 tap of the
Tap tap.
cane. Yeah. And Cora, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, would hold seances there at the Stanley. I believe that, back in the day, seances were just so powerful, and especially during the Civil War. It was funny.
Hmm.
Spiritualism was really had a big impact, and it was rivaling organized religion because with the Civil War, all these soldiers were coming back either maimed or missing limbs or dead. And the typical Christian Judeo-Islamic tradition didn't have much comfort other than he's in a better place, and at least he's not suffering now and all this. The typical things that we say in church, the church will tell us. But with spiritualism, they believe they could actually make contact with the departed, maybe through in a seance, maybe through a medium. And so spiritualism became really big during the Civil War, and Abraham Lincoln's wife was very big into spiritualism. As a matter of fact, she would go and hold seances to try to talk to her son Willie, who died of, I believe it was tuberculosis. So spiritualism was a religion, and the organized religion was very upset about this because people were, Christians were practicing this, but it seemed to give them a comfort that organized religion did not. And that's where these things become, so popular. You need to give the people what they need. You need to appease them and satisfy them. And, spiritualism certainly was able to do that. And again, this is not anti-organized religion at all. It's just
No,
just saying, I mean,
right.
so
It's almost like an additional to it because it's to me, it's kind of like you have the organized religion and then you have the spiritual that to me it kind of it's like the organized is your base and then with the spiritual it just raises it higher,
mhm.
and so it kind of blends together. It
Right.
works
I think yeah.
together.
Yeah. And even now with Disclosure Day and with disclosure and everything,
Hmm.
part of the conversation is what's going to happen to people like you and I when we discover that there's alien forms out there? How's this going to impact on us? How is it going to go and turn everything upside down? Our belief in a supreme being and organized religion and all this, So some people are saying that if we found out that there were actual aliens, coexisting with us or living up there someplace, that we would have a hard time with this. And I think it was called the Robinson Report back in the 50s, after Roswell and Kenneth Arnold in 47. There was a lot of UFO hysteria. There's a lot of pareidolia out there. Everywhere people were looking, they would see flying saucers. But I think that the Robinson Report, if that's the correct one, was saying that they didn't believe that the American public was mature enough to handle the truth. You can't handle the truth. That's what they were saying. So,
Yeah.
so
What are your
that's
thoughts on that?
still, I
I
could
see the
handle it.
poster in the I'm sorry. I see the poster in the background, so I'm curious what your thoughts are with it. ETs.
Yeah, I would love to be able to go and meet with a an alien and try to communicate with that with them. I would love to do that, but I don't know if I don't know if that's ever going to happen. But that would be on my wish list. I wish I could see a cryptid. I wish I could see a Bigfoot. I look all the time, but I think that you have to be at the right place at the right time. You have to have the right vibration.
Mhm.
Uh, you have to be ready for the experience, and it has to be ready for you. And no two people will have the same experience. The same. You may see this cryptid, and I may be with you and not be able to see it. So I just think that
I
that's
agree.
the way it works. Yeah.
I
And it's
agree.
the paranormal. It's the paranormal. We don't know a lot about that. So that's how,
Right.
you know, how how weird that is.
We'll talk after the show, but yeah, I've got stories that I'll talk to you about.
Yeah, okay,
Uh,
cool. Yeah.
yeah.
So
But
in the Smurl Haunting, I talk about Father Amorth, and Father Amorth was the uh, exorcist for the Vatican, and he had performed thousands of exorcisms. There's a motion picture with Russell Crowe called "The Vatican's Exorcist" or "The Pope's Exorcist," and it's a wonderful, well done story about going over to Spain to this haunted place, and but Russell Crowe does a great job, and Father Amorth was the one who said that only 2% of the people that he deals with are actually possessed by demons. 2%. All the other ones are dealing with manifestations of mental illness, whether it's schizophrenia or Tourette's syndrome or bipolar or whatever it is. I mean, they're dealing with something else. And the church, with the priest, have to go in there with psychiatrists and psychologists to find out, to make sure that these individuals are actually possessed by demons and not, mentally ill. And one thing they look for is one thing about people that are possessed, they have superhuman strength. They have the ability to levitate. They have the ability to speak foreign languages that they should not know. They know your deep and personal thoughts. If you are one of the exorcists within the room, these people that are possessed know your intimate thoughts. Uh, uh, what else? Just a whole bunch of things, but just superhuman strength, the language, etc. And it seems to hold true for most of these cases when you compare notes with exorcists, they all say pretty much the same thing. This is how an individual will respond if they've been possessed. And then when we talk about the pathway to possession, we talk about things like temptation and obsession and infestation and finally possession, but just like there's a pathway. And, I think people need to just be grounded and just be careful because I know a lot of us have an affinity for this. We have a fascination for the paranormal. And I have a friend, I have a former Catholic, a born again Christian guy that warns me all the time. And he says, don't go down that rabbit hole. He goes, don't get too close to the flame. And I said, listen, I'm not. I said, I view this as a skeptic and as an academic. I don't dance with the devil. I don't need anything that the devil has. I'm not, making a deal to have, sex, orgies, drugs, fame, whatever. I'm good. I'm good.
right.
So,
Right.
so, but not everybody says it. And with, um, when you talk about demonic stuff, I mean, even people that are hedonistic, that believe that anything goes, that just believes that they can get every type of sensual pleasure, that they deserve it, without any kind of
Mhm.
self-control. I think that's sort of getting close to the demonic because, as human beings, we're made in the likeness and image of God, And what that does is it gives us an abundance of DNA. It gives us a hell of a lot of cognition and spirituality. And that's what makes us different from the animals. I mean, the cognition and the spirituality. We care, on a good day, we care about people. We have compassion and empathy, and we care about people. And we also have stimulus, cognition, response. Animals have stimulus response. We got that cognition. So something triggers us, and then we should, as humans, think about it before we act. So, that's what we're all about.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. So okay, let's say, let's say somebody goes in to a haunted house or they become possessed in some way or another, however they become possessed. And another person notices that they are now different. They've got this weird stuff going on with them. What would you suggest this other person do? Would you send them to, let's say, for an emergency contact, per se? Okay, this person's going weird, you know, it's just not right as a
Yeah,
human. Let's,
yeah.
where does somebody go to help
Well,
them?
first of all, again, for your listeners, please don't get turned off by the words God, Allah, higher power, any of that. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, these are powerful words. I think that uh, if I were the person that noticed that something was happening, I think I would have this individual talk to a priest, someone who is a theologian, and I would try to go and maybe say some prayers of protection and healing, uh, maybe to cleanse the individual if that's what it would take. But I think that that would be important. I think it's always about intention and focus. And if you're filled with God's grace, you're not going to be filled with the devil's temptation. So, it just depends on where you're coming from, what your intention is. And when we talk about ghost hunters, well, we always talk about intention, respect, patience. Those are the things. When you go into a haunted house, you want to have patience, wait for something to happen. You want to have respect for the ghosts, the spirits that are there, and also you want to have the proper intention. You need all of those. So but that's what I would do. I mean, it's easier said than done because maybe the person doesn't want to go and get help. Maybe the person that is being possessed feels sort of good about it. Maybe that possession comes with some kind of an adrenaline rush, comes with something of the physical, the sensual, and they enjoy that. You know, I know I used to work in mental health, and a lot of the patients didn't like to be on the medication because it would take away their high, and they didn't. And these are young people that were enjoying that ride. And if you're in a manicky state, with bipolar, if you're in that manicky state, some people could stay awake for days. They're almost like God. They're almost superhuman with the abilities that they have. It's almost like being on methamphetamine. But when they're in that manicky phase, they like it because I mean they're euphoric, they're powerful, and they don't like to take the medication because that flatlines that euphoria. That good place that they want to be. So that's kind of interesting. But yeah, I think there's help out there, and we need to get help. And it's always a good thing to talk to somebody else and get some advice. When we start saying that, no, I don't need your help. I'm good. I got this. And that's not right. A healthy person will ask for help. An unhealthy person will just say, no, I'm okay. I got this. So, you know,
There you go. There you go. Okay. That's good
yeah,
because I know
yeah, that's-
I have a few numbers for my husband if I ever go out, or if when I go out to do some paranormal investigations, and I have some emergency numbers just in case, not saying that
yeah,
I'm going to go in saying, yes, I'm going to come out, I'm going to be possessed, and I'm going to, that's not my goal. My goal is just
yeah,
protection. just in case.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
And
go
let
in
me
for
ask,
the protection.
and and what would you do for protection? You go into a haunted warehouse. Uh, bad things have happened there. So what would you do for protection? Do you have anything that you do personally?
I haven't been on an investigation yet with anyone, so I haven't really learned any of it. But from my knowledge at this point, would be like a meditation of protection, um,
Yeah.
doing like the light around, getting yourself relaxed enough to bring in that protection, doing some saging or something.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not
Yeah.
sure how much they do, how deep, or not sure about all that. So there's little details like that I do need to learn. I do need a lot of more education, but I'm ready to get my hands
Sure. Yeah.
dirty.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
ready to get
but
my
yeah,
hands
but
dirty.
you're right though about the sage, the white light, the protective prayer, all that stuff, and this has been around for thousands of years. People have always utilized this to stay safe. So this goes way back. It's in our DNA. It's our Jungian collective unconsciousness. It's kind of neat that we're part of that tribal thing, that communal thing, that we've always done this. So yeah, I would really can't wait to see what the reviews are about the Scream of the Haunted House. I am just so excited about it and the fact that it's coming out soon. And so I just can't say enough about that. So, and this will be my 10th book, my 10th
There you
published
go.
book. So, yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
awesome. Well,
Yeah.
congratulations. That's pretty awesome.
Oh,
I'm
thank you.
working
Yeah,
on my
yeah, yeah.
first one. I'm working
Oh,
on my
wonderful.
first
Okay.
one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a title?
I don't have a title right now. It's I'm just getting my thoughts down on paper right now. It's going to be a book about my experiences that I've had, and I've had quite a few of them now. I
Okay.
just had
Yeah.
one Saturday morning, or I'm
Oh, wow.
sorry,
Okay.
Sunday morning.
Yeah.
So
And what you saw something, you heard something, you felt something? What?
saw something. Um, my husband has a weather radio, and he was gone at the moment, and I'm in the basement doing working or getting ready for another podcast, and I hear his radio going off. So I'm like, okay, no problem. I'll just go up, kind of check it out a bit, make sure it's not, I'm staying safe, and turn it off. I go up there, and the radio's not on. It wasn't showing the lights saying that there was an alert or anything. So it didn't even go off. And so I was like, oh, what the heck? I'm up here. I'm going to turn on my salt lamp. So I turned that on. As I'm turning that on, I don't know how to kind of, oh, well, here's my hand. So this here is the radio. So I'm turning on the light, the lamp, and on the radio, I see fingers like this, black fingers like this, and it just kind of slides down off
Wow.
of it.
Ah.
So that's one more of my stories for everyone. But
So what was that? What's your conclusion? Okay, yeah.
I'm not sure. I did try to talk with it. I did try to, okay, I saw you.
Yeah.
What do you have a message for me? Do
Okay, good. Yeah.
anything like that? I was like, what, you know, just trying to get some sort of communication. I got nothing, but um, it was just it just catches you off guard.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, 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 yeah.
It's like
Are you a sensitive? Do you have abilities? Do you think that you're an empath? I mean, can you pick up on things that other people can't?
they say I'm an empath. I can do it sometimes. I have like touches of everything. I can smell. I've smelled things.
Yeah.
Um, I I know things. Sometimes I would just say something. I have channeled a few times. I've smelt things. In fact, I've smelt Bigfoot right around
Okay.
here.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So and I've heard things. So I get bounces of almost a lot of these.
Yeah,
Clairvoyant
yeah.
is my biggest one, I think. But Yeah,
So you can see things, perceive things before they happen, correct?
I have done that.
Yeah,
I
okay.
have done that, like just knowledge, like, I'm really getting the feel, if this keeps happening, this is going to happen. And it's come true.
Yeah, wow.
It's
Okay.
happened.
Okay.
It's like, okay, yeah, well, I told you.
Yeah.
I told you so.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've
I
got a few of those. I mean, if you got enough of them, I feel like I have enough for a book. So I'm trying to kind of put all my thoughts and everything together and come up with a book. So I'm in the midst of a book myself.
Good for you. Yeah. Well, when
Excited.
you're ready to let me know when you're ready to get finish it up, and I'd be glad to suggest some publishers and whatever, you know. It's a
Okay.
you don't pay anybody to get your book published. You do not pay a penny. So just remember that because
Okay.
there's a lot of con artists out there trying to take your money. So you're not going to do that.
Okay. That'll be
Okay.
good.
Yes. Yeah.
Keep you in
Yeah.
mind for that one.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, you know, we help each other. Yeah. I
Yeah.
was in the Navy. I was um, in Vietnam, and I was a radarman. I used to see UFOs. I saw flying saucers, solid, tangible, maneuverable, faster than anything we had or anybody else had. And it's they say that 3% of what we see are anomalous. For example, the Nimitz, 2004 Nimitz. TikTok sighting. You know, the Navy pilots saw this thing, took pictures of it. It zigzagged, it went underwater, and the Pentagon changed from UFO to UAP, unidentified aerial phenomenon, to
Mhm.
unidentified anomalous phenomenon. Only because this thing went under the water. So, you know, there's things
Yeah.
out there we can't explain. We believe that with UFOs, it's 3%. So it's easy with the numbers. So 3% of the uh, saucers and discs that we see are anomalous. Maybe 2% of the possessions that the Vatican, that the church deals with are actually possession, you know, demonic possession. So it's kind of interesting. And with Bigfoot, I don't know. I don't know if there's any numbers out there. I mean, I haven't heard of any, but you know,
There's a lot here.
it's yeah, I know.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of sightings in Colorado, and um, to kind of throw it out there, I've got a family in my backyard,
Oh, do you? Oh, wow. Okay. Okay.
and I live in the city, so um, it's been pretty cool. It's been pretty cool.
You
I
interact?
I have had a couple interactions.
Okay.
Yes,
Wow. Okay. Well, that's
yeah,
awesome. Yeah.
and I've gotten I believe he's the father, so I have the father's footprint possibly, and I have the little one's footprint
Okay. Okay.
that
Is
I've
there a
seen in the
s-
backyard.
is there a smell associated with that?
My guys are the mix between skunk and fox.
Okay.
So it's like a mix between the two. It's like an even mix. So yeah, but I'm starting to get the feel that there's different ones. So one is a little more skunky, one's a little more foxy, and one there's kind of middle. So I've gotten three
Yeah.
different scents. So I
Uh,
believe that they're the different ones within the family.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think the smell is a means of warning us or protection? What do you think? What is it?
I
Why do
haven't
they have such a?
gotten, yeah, I haven't gotten the feel that it's a warning. Um, it's more of just letting me know that they're there, giving me,
Mhm.
hey, we're around, we're here, we're
Mhm.
cool. Um, because I've smelt it going into work too,
Yeah.
on my
Huh.
drive to work. So I believe that they're there, they're just protecting me. There's
Okay.
like, or they're just letting me know they're with me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's
I
pretty
don't get a
awesome.
bad thing.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and the coastal peoples in British Columbia always believed that Sasquatch was a protector of the environment and that to know Sasquatch, to meet a Sasquatch was a sacred thing. And they pretty much talk about, I mean, some people disagree, but you typically, uh, seeing a Bigfoot is not a dangerous experience. I mean, it's rare to when you hear about an attack of a Bigfoot. I mean, do you agree with that?
I would
'Cause-
pretty much agree with that. And I think that's just because it's the level of energy within that person, and the Bigfoot is feeling it. They're going to feel the energy off of you. So, or if you have a gun or something like that with you, they're going to be like, whoa, danger, instant, and they're going to go protecting themselves. They're going to do what they're going to do to protect themselves. So I think it's like you're saying,
Yeah.
intention. So if you go on a research or go looking for them and you have the intention of being kind to them and being a friend to them, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm saying, hey, I'm a friend of yours. I'd love to be around you. You're welcome around my home,
Uh-huh.
long as you're nice. My rules are just be kind.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
um
yeah.
if you're going to be
Yeah.
kind and you're going to protect me and you're just going to be a friend to me, i, I mean, I'll welcome anything really. And as long as you're going to be good, there is no negative within you. It has to be
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
high and full of
Yeah.
love. But there's nothing that they have done that has any scare to me. My dog doesn't
Hmm.
give me any warnings that there's any fear around. I I
Yeah.
can't say that there's any reason for me to be fearful.
Yeah. Um,
Absolutely not.
A friend of mine was a sheriff, and years ago he got a call like around 11 o'clock at night. This elderly guy was leaving his dog out to go to the bathroom, and he saw this 11-foot cryptid. He thought it was a Bigfoot, so the sheriff, my buddy, came over there, and the older guy said, I wasn't afraid. And the sheriff goes, well, why weren't you afraid? And the guy said, the Bigfoot had kind eyes, had kind
Yeah.
eyes. So
Yeah. And that's how you
that's
do it. That's
yeah.
the reading. That's how I do my readings and everything. A lot of it is through the eyes. So
Uh-huh.
it's I don't know how to explain it except for like you kind of look into the soul. I don't want to freak anybody out or anything, but it is kind of like that. It's like you're looking through the eyes and you're looking into the person's soul, and you read the body, you read the body language, you read
Hmm.
the face. This is how I do it. It's like reading the face, and you read the face and you'd see like different lines in the face, and that kind of tells me like a little story of who you are and how you were as a child. So, to see a Bigfoot in their eyes, a lot of pictures and all that you've been seeing, I'm taking the trust that the ones I'm looking at are real and they're not AI. I'm giving the
Yeah.
trust, putting the trust out
Yeah.
there. And the ones that I'm feeling that are more truthful and everything, I feel love in their eyes. I feel that they're friendly, that they're just curious. And my little foot, she was curious, and she came into my house a few weeks back, and she's knocked something off of a shelf. you
Yeah.
know,
Huh.
but it's like, okay, that's no problem. You're welcome in my house to observe and, you know, check things out. Just be cautious. I have these certain rules for you.
Yeah.
So, you're welcome. Just be kind, just be kind.
Yeah.
But again, my husband wasn't here, but right after it happened, my husband walks in the door. So he missed it. I'm like, oh, you just missed this.
Uh,
But
and is
anyways,
he's a believer, correct?
he is skeptic.
Oh, he's okay.
Um,
Okay. Well,
he
that's good.
has, yeah, he
That,
has experienced a few things with me.
uh-huh.
Um, but he's still like, oh, it was the wind. Oh, it was this. Oh, it was that. Oh, it was,
Hmm.
so he's still very much the skeptic, which is pretty cool because it kind of keeps me earthbound.
Yeah.
you
Okay.
know,
Yeah. Yeah.
he keeps me earthbound. But that one there, he's like, I have no idea how that happened.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
don't know. I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, how can we know? I mean, it's again, I mean, we're investigating the paranormal. It has no beginning or end. I mean, we just don't know,
Mhm.
that's the fascinating thing about it, whether it's cryptids or UFOs or demonology or, whatever that is. But I mean, there's so many people that are like-minded, that want to learn as much as they can. And I think that's what's so popular about podcasts such as yours, that people want to learn and know. And this is just a great way to talk about things that they're typically are off the agenda, in I guess in mainstream culture. So a lot of
Mhm.
people think that, paranormal people are a little bit kooky, but we're really not. We're just citizen
Mhm.
scientists looking for answers. It's all good.
Yeah, and like you're saying, the show is about my guests. The guests are they're my guest is my show, is what I say.
Yeah.
Because you guys are the
Okay.
ones telling your stories, and you guys are the ones that somebody's going to hit and say, "Oh man, that happened to me. It happens to other people too."
Yeah.
you know, so they're
Mhm.
like, "Maybe I'm
Yeah.
not so crazy." Um,
Yeah.
that's what I want to send out, just
Yeah.
letting you guys tell your stories and say, "Hey, this and this and this happened to me." And it's like, it's okay. We know how to protect ourselves, we know how to work through it. So if it happens to somebody else and they have no one else to talk to, they can contact my guests, or they can contact me,
Yeah.
or, so that we
Yeah.
can help them through this, so they're not, so they have a
Uh,
safe place to do this. Yeah.
right. That's a good way to put it. Yeah. We all need that safe place, so a place where we're grounded and we're protected and all that. So.
Right.
Well, I wanted to thank you again for the invitation on Light Talk with Dana, and I hope your listeners found this enjoyable, and I hope they check out my website. Again, it's www.maximfurek.com. The book that we were talking about tonight is The Smurl Haunting When Ed and Lorraine Came to Town, which is a great book about conjuring last rites. And I talk about my friends, Ed and Lorraine Warren, who are great people. And then right around the corner is Scream of the Haunted House, which should be coming out later this summer. So it's going to be a very eventful summer for me. So looking forward to it.
And I want to say congratulations on the books, and thank you for serving in the military. I appreciate that on a personal level, just because I appreciate all you people, all you veterans. I
Thank you.
appreciate you all.
I thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, United States Navy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
My brother was Navy
very
too,
good.
so very
Okay.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So,
All right.
okay.
So if
Well,
anyone,
well,
yeah, I'm
go
sorry,
ahead.
go ahead.
No,
I'm
I
going to
was
close
just,
up.
okay. No, just thanking you again for the invitation, and I'm wishing you well, going forward.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you being on the show, because it takes you guys to make this show. So I thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. Okay, very good.
If anyone else out there has a story you would like to share, email me, lighttalk423@gmail.com, and we will talk with everyone next time. Bye.
Goodbye. Namaste.